Well, I didn't really think a whole lot about it because no one really knew what it was. So my initial guess was just it was going to be a room where we were going to send kids who couldn't do advisory very well, kind of like a holding tank, like a timeout, if you will, just sort of give them 3 days away from their advisory teacher that they're probably driving crazy, and then send them back. It ended up being, I think, a pretty valuable experience. Our first semester of working with freshmen, it wasn't even a full semester, really turned into a place for us to discover what the problems with our freshmen really are. I know as a teacher, working with these kids, and I haven't worked with freshmen for a few years now, it's easy to forget how much stuff that they don't know. And every time we're meeting with these kids, we're finding things out, like they have no idea how to use Student View. I even had a student who we went through writing down her missing work, and I talked to her about what she could say to her teachers, and she asked me if that was gonna bring her grade up. She didn't even know that turning in missing work was gonna help her out. Now that's a pretty extreme case, but thank goodness we had that conversation, because we never would have found that out. And what's cool too is what Boost Camp is continuing to become, because based off of those experiences, we're now able to have the freedom to change the program. We're doing new things. We're making it a longer program because we're learning that these kids need more than a quick pep talk and a couple strategies. We're really gonna intervene for these kids and with these kids and give them some skills that they can use for the rest of their high school career. And they don't have to learn them the hard way and junior year look back on their freshman year and be like, man, I didn't know anything. We can get to them early, and there's a lot of potential there.
Well, building relationships is really important in life in general. I think it's a good skill for college and career, professors, bosses, co-workers. So it's something that kids should be learning how to do anyway. But the direct benefit to them while they're still in high school is that relationship has a lot to do with their success in a class. If they have a goal to pass a class, they really need a relationship with the teacher to be able to feel comfortable asking for help and to get what they need out of the class, especially struggling students. For example, actually in research on counseling, compared to any therapeutic modality, the most important thing in determining whether a client will achieve their goals is their relationship with their therapist. So relationships have such an importance in our lives that they can actually determine whether or not we achieve our goals. We are doing some basic assertive communication skills training and self-advocacy. So there's skills training, and then there are scripts that help students to communicate effectively with their teachers. The first purpose in the scripts is to acknowledge the student's reality. So in many of these kids' reality, they have a negative relationship with their teacher that they feel impacts their ability to be successful in the class. And their perception is their reality. So whether or not that's really the case, we still need to validate it. And the script allows them to understand that we're not attacking them for not passing their class. But there is another side to that too. The script also requires the student to take responsibility for their piece of the pie. They have to acknowledge what they've done to contribute to the failing situation. So it's sort of a dual-layered purpose, and it helps validate both sides, so the teacher and the student. By doing that, we hope to open up both the student and the teacher to repairing that relationship. So that the student can achieve their goal, which benefits both the teacher and the student anyway, because both of them want the student to pass. So that's another purpose, is to get the student to see that the teacher actually has the same goal as the student. And then we hope that it will help both the student and the teacher to be open to negotiation. So the student may want to make up certain things for a certain grade at a certain time. If that doesn't work for the teacher, the student needs to be open to negotiation to find out what is a solution that both the teacher and the student can agree on. And So we have scripts for that, and then the students are going to practice with their peer mentors so that they can role play before they actually go and talk to their teacher.
So last semester, in working with the Boost Camp students, we saw the pattern of students not having very good organizational skills, particularly the freshmen. Their backpacks would be an abyss of papers that had absolutely zero chance of helping them be successful. So in working with those kids, we helped get them binders, used the hole punch machine to hole punch their papers, and then gave them dividers for each of the classes. But definitely disorganization was a huge issue for them. Additionally, not being aware of how to use Student View and using that resource to help them be successful, because many times students would come in and we would ask them, why are you failing X number of classes? And I don't know. And so then we showed them how to use Student View in the lab to access their grades and also missing assignments. And many times when we were going through their backpacks, we would find the missing assignments and they were done. They just didn't ever turn them in because they couldn't find them in their disorganized backpack. As far as the turnaround for that, we got kind of a late start last semester and didn't get started until second term. And so we started following up with the kids towards the end of second term, and in most cases they were still not being as successful as what we would have liked to have seen in helping them. We're hoping that this semester, starting out in January, we're also going to have some peer mentors with them, one-on-one peer mentors, and we hope to see tremendous success and growth in these students from the number of failing classes that they had last semester to hopefully getting them mentored with a peer and then having actual conversations with their teachers. That's the goal of this semester, is to advocate for themselves, take more of a responsibility for their own education. Clearly, when you get into education, your goal is to help students reach their potential. And freshman students who are failing 3 to 4, 5, or 6 classes are not experiencing success. And as an educator, it's very challenging for me to see a student not be successful or not working to their full potential. So we're hoping that bringing in these smaller groups of students, pairing them up with a peer mentor, will give them the connection that they need to help be more successful and accountable towards their education and less likely to have to repeat classes. Be in one of our SIP goals, which is to have freshmen be credit current. And so to hopefully get them back on track, and so that they don't have to be in our evening school and our night school program and our summer school program, that we can have students who are currently credit equivalent of the freshman level, so that they can then be a sophomore, junior, and hopefully graduate in 4 years and then move on to post-secondary education of some sort, whether that be in a job field or in college. So working with these kids, I think, and helping them recognize that they do have potential, that they do have the ability to learn, even if they don't necessarily like the class, they can still learn from the class, they can still earn the credits so that they can move on. I think that's the real reason that the team that we have assembled, the adult team that we have assembled to be working with these peer mentors, is why most of us are in this group.